Well, welcome to Co-Designing with AI, right? In a world that we all are at the moment, everything is prompt. I mean, we are not Googling anymore. We are looking for ChatGPT and asking questions in most of the cases. So let me ask you something. Which one of you uses ChatGPT at the moment? Okay, excellent. How many of you use Gemini? Excellent, brilliant. So we are in a really, really good position. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Obrigado, grazie, danke, merci, whichever language you speak here in Europe. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to be with all of you in this situation, in this instance. And one thing I want to do before we even start, is that you can take pictures, but at the same time you will be able to download absolutely everything. The whole presentation, the material, the prompts we are going to be using, everything. Everything you can download after the presentation. I'm going to give you a QR code and you will be able to download absolutely everything. For those who don't know me, my name is Pablo Gomez. I'm a Tableau visionary, 3-time Tableau visionary, 9 times Tableau ambassador. My website is data.monster, and I usually put stuff in there either in Spanish or in English, so you're more than welcome to visit the website. And if you want to connect on LinkedIn, feel free to connect and all the stuff. So I'll always like to stay in touch with everyone in the community. Now, some of you already know me, and my passion is to create infographics combining graphic design and Tableau, right? So these are some of my work, some of my infographics, right? And I've been using all sorts of different tools to create graphic design, to create color palettes and all that kind of stuff. And I usually worked alone myself, right? But I'm going to confess something. The whole presentation, everything you're going to see today, right? It was done by me and my team. And who are part of my team? My team are these two guys, ChatGPT, who is our brilliant brainstorming guru and content creator, right? I have worked with him for a long time now, about 2.5 years mainly. We get along really well, and he actually is called Rex. So for everyone, my ChatGPT is called Rex. So we have a very close relationship. And the other guy, part of my team, is Mr. Nano Banana. Have you ever heard of Nano Banana? No, we go, excellent. You are for a treat, basically. So he's the designer guru of my team and the photo editor, right? You will see there's a banana next to the name Nano Banana, right? What I'm trying to say is that all the images that you will see, and when you find that banana next to it, it means that it was AI generated, basically. All the images with the banana are AI generated. Mr. Nano Banana was in charge of building all that. Now, everything you're going to see in the presentation, the content, the prompts, and the GPTs that we're going to be using, I work very, very close with Rex, my very good friend ChatGPT, right? Why am I introducing you to the team? Mainly because I work very, very close with all of them to get what you're going to see today. And what we were brainstorming what we're going to do and how we're going to present all this, right? I also thought, okay, what can we bring into the presentation that after these 45 minutes, you will be able to work and use everything that you're going to see today, right? Some of the presentations yesterday and today as well are showing you what's coming, right? Some of them are complicated because you have to implement, or you have to create this, you have to create that. This is very simple, right? I'm a very simple person. I'm a very simple person in every way, so I don't like complicated things when I'm working. So everything you're going to see at the end of the presentation, you can also use it as well, and you will have access to everything, right? Now, it's super important that we realize that everything that is being created is with this team, with these two guys. However, it was me who decided what to tell, what to show, and what to present today, right? They are suggesting me, they are showing me a few things, we are brainstorming, but the final decision is me, right? So the whole purpose of this conversation, this presentation, is exactly that, right? So we can have a bunch of AI tools, we can have all sorts of different things that we can use, but at the end of the day, it's us who make the ultimate decisions on what to show, how to tell the story, and all that. So let's get started, right? So AI can give you all the information you need, the data in minutes, but only you, as I mentioned, only you can make the decision of what to show, what to tell, and make them unforgettable, right? What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you what it means to stay human in a prompt world, right? Which is kind of very difficult, becoming very, very difficult every day. We're going to explore AI, human, and Tableau loop. We're going to work on all those three things. I'm going to show you 3 real tools that you can use. And this is where it gets complicated because it's going to be a live demo and it's AI and everything can go absolutely wrong, basically. So let's hope it works okay. And I'm going to walk you through the end-to-end process on what I do and all the stuff. So, and then we're going to have a few minutes for a live Q&A at the end of the presentation. We live in a prompt world, right? As I mentioned, sometimes we are not Googling anymore. We are not going to Google to search for something. We just go to ChatGPT. Some people go to Gemini. Others use Perplexity. Have you ever used Perplexity? Any of you? Excellent. A few hands over there. So I recommend you look for it and you use it. It's absolutely brilliant. So living in a prompt world means that we have all sorts of different AI tools. Nowadays, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilots, Perplexity, so many others, right, that give you everything that you need. We just prompt it, right, and it becomes a default. It's something that we use almost every day now to create images, to create emails, documents, research, and all that. And it's easy to generate. It could generate charts, documents. It can help us understand our data on a day-to-day basis. But the good thing is that that speed alone doesn't guarantee that what you're getting is absolutely correct or is good in any way. That's why we come as a person or as humans, right? So we have moved from, can we do it? Asking the question. Have you ever had that question? Can I do this or not? Into, yes, I can do it, and I can do it instantly. I can do it super quick nowadays, right? The main question is, what do we do with all that speed? What do we do with everything that we have straight away right in front of us, right? So staying human in a prompt world really matters. And why does it really matter, basically? Because it's us who provide trust. People provide the trust, not the models, basically. So with all that, we can understand the context, we can make decisions, and we can take the risk on what we are showing. Clarity, right? AI suggests the different visuals that we can use, but it's us, at the end of the day, to decide what we're going to show and how we're going to show it. Ethics and responsibility, right? It's up to us what we are responsible to show and not to show in our visualizations. And we have to keep it original. If we start using everything that AI gives us, right, we lose that originality and everything starts looking the same, right? Have you ever received an email from someone saying, I know this has been generated by AI, for example, because they are all the same. I see some of you nodding, so you can realize sometimes when it's actually created by AI, because it doesn't have our own voice. So AI generate options. And we, as humans, we generate the meaning, right? We generate the storytelling. We create what we want to tell. Now, for all this, we have what I call an AI loop in my process. And that AI loop is nothing more, nothing less than AI, human, and Tableau, in this case. So that's my process, how I work with the team that you guys just saw, with the two guys that you just saw. Now, as you can see, human, in this case, is right in the middle of the equation, right? Why? Because it's center. We are using the human or the person is right at the center of this equation, right? Think as a partnership, right? AI can suggest, can help you brainstorm, can help you show you, and can show you things that you can actually do. You decide. And Tableau is the canvas. Tableau is the place where you actually go and going to start building all that at the end of the day. So, as I mentioned, AI expands options, proposes different ideas. It gives you speed, and you can actually repeat all over and over and over the same situations. Now, We as humans, we can edit, we can choose, we can make decisions, and we are the ones at the center of the whole partnership. Now, Tableau is the place where we're actually going to go, and we're going to build everything that we're going to build, right? Everything that we're going to do, everything we're going to show, our storytelling is going to come at this point. So many of you might be thinking, okay, what does it mean, right, to use AI, right? What do we do with AI, right? We can have fast suggestions, we can have ideas, we can have zero ego, because it's not going to be mad if we tell AI, you know what, I don't like this, give me another option, right? We're not going to hurt their feelings, right? So that's something that it makes that person, or that the AI, it makes it probably one of the best partners to work with in that way. So let's start with the good news. The really good news, right, is that we can let AI help us, right? It's not going to do the things for us, right? I have heard yesterday in many presentations, AI will do this for you, AI will do that for you, right? I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't want AI to do things for me. I want AI to help me do stuff. And the reason for that is that I don't think we are yet in a position where everything has to be automated. And then if we ever get to that position, right, we are losing our possibility to choose. We are losing that immense opportunity, which is to choose and to decide what we want to do. For that, I'm going to introduce you to 3 tools that I usually use, 3 of them, and they are part of my very core process. DataVis Color Palette Generator. I think some of you have already seen this from me before. So basically, it's a GPT that I created, and it will help you generate color palettes. How many times have you been in this situation where you're actually going to design something and you don't know which colors to pick? You don't even know where to start with the colors, right? Many people actually struggle finding the right colors or the right color palettes, right, to start working. It has already been me many, many times. I started building a visualization some time ago, and I had this option, and I had this other option, right? And which one should I pick? If you were paying attention on my second or third slide, you will know which one I picked. Which one do you think I choose at the end of the day? Come on, I like an interactive audience. Come on guys, the right one? Yeah, absolutely. So that's the one that I picked. But basically, the good thing is that you can start brainstorming. You can start saying, okay, which are the pros and cons of using one or the other, for example, and depending on what sort of message you're going to bring, right, or you want to convey, is the one that you're going to pick, is the one that you're going to use. Now, my friend ChatGPT is really, really good at that. It helps me say, okay, we can brainstorm. We can say, okay, which are the pros and cons for each one of them. Now, the DataVis Color Palette Generator, it's there. You can download, you can access it via ChatGPT. This link will be there as well when you download everything. But basically, when you just go into that custom color palette, what it does is it asks you, what do you want to do? What kind of color palette is you're going to create or want to create? And basically, what it does is it will generate color palettes based on the mood board that you have, based on a theme, based on a brand. So it's not going to generate something from scratch. It could, but it can also adjust to what you already have. Many of you are working with branding materials or design that already has been given to you. You can introduce all that into the GPT. It will extract colors from images or dashboards. If you find something that it's an inspiration to you and you want to use those colors, for example, you can use those colors straight away because it will help you extract those colors. It will check accessibility and control. How many times we design something, a visualization, and we are not considering colorblind people, for example, right? So it will help you adjust colors, especially red, amber, green, right, to your visualizations so they are compliant to those people. And it will help you export those color palettes, right, into your Tableau preferences file. We're going to see all that in a few minutes, basically. But the good news is that it works. I have many people already using it, and it's great, and I'm going to show you how it works, basically. And the other tool I'm going to show you is how many of you uses or normally get into this process, like a sketch, wireframe, mockup, and prototype. How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we need more people to start doing that. And the reason for that is that we usually have meetings with stakeholders, right? How many times have you had a meeting, get all the requirements, get the data, you go, you create your visualization, right? A few days later, a week or two later, you go and present it to your stakeholders and say, oh, that's not what I wanted. Raise your hand if you have been in that situation. Yes, that's more like it. Why is that? Because basically, the best thing we can do is take those stakeholders through a process, right? Step by step, hand by hand process. And that process is basically creating a sketch that I'm going to show you, creating a wireframe, showing them a mock-up of what it will look like, more or less, basically, and then creating a prototype that is very, very close to the final visualization. Now, with all that, what I do is I usually use my very, very good friend, Gemini, in this case, to create all that, and the very, very good friend, Nano Banana. And the reason for that is I usually sketch everything on a piece of paper with my pen or colors or something like that, and then I will go on to Figma or Canva or Adobe Illustrator, basically, and I will digitalize that, and then I will start creating that process. Now, with my very good friend, Guru designer, Nano Banana, I can create that, basically, and I can do all that stuff, and I will show you how it works. So where do I even start sometimes? We don't know. Where's the layout decision? Can we change the layout decision? Can we move stuff around as well? How many times you end up with 20 versions of the same thing, of the same layout, of the same idea? Stakeholder changes. Late in the process, that's what I was actually telling you. So if we go to the stakeholders at the last minute, what's going to happen is that basically they are going to end up saying, oh, this is not what I expected, this is not what I wanted. So that's a sketch that I created myself, right? Pen and paper, nothing more than that. A4 size pen, paper, right? And I took it to my friend Nano Banana and said, look, can you digitalize this, please? Can you make this as a digital image? So my friend Nano Banana went all the way, and he created the digital image, straight the same size that I was actually looking for it. Then I created a mock-up, right? A little bit further along the way version with some ideas of graphs that I was going to show, no data still, just an idea of the mock-up that I was going to create. Then again, in the past, I would have had to go and digitalize all this myself. With one of those tools, designing tools, but now I can ask my friend Nano Banana and say, can you make a digital version of all this? And it will even get my handwriting perfectly fine. Look, it's not perfect. My handwriting is not great, perhaps, but it will go and it will understand and read all that and create a fantastic mock-up. Even further, I can go and say, look, this is my logo, these are my logos, those are my colors, right? And those are the type of fonts I want in my visualization. Can you now create some sort of close prototype of what it will look like, right? Once I start applying all those colors and all that kind of stuff. And basically, it will generate something like this for me. We're going to do something very similar now, later on in a few minutes. So that's the process. That's how I use Nano Banana to start building all those mockups, right? And from there, we can do all sorts of different things. You can ask, okay, can you move that logo to the right and the header to the left? And you will actually swap them around without a problem. So those are the prompts and things you can do nowadays with Gemini and Nano Banana. The workbook jungle, right? How many of you have inherited a workbook? Yes, I can see one hand over there. Thank you. How many of you have inherited a workbook and have no idea what the other person did before? Excellent, brilliant. How many of you, right, created a dashboard or visualization, came back 6 months later and completely forgot everything that you did? Absolutely, brilliant. So I think it's fair to say that this guy is many of us most of the time, right? Not knowing exactly what's going on, not knowing where we are, right? We don't know sometimes the differences between version 3 and version 4 of the same workbook, because we created a bunch of calculated fields between two versions, and we created some graphs, we created parameters, and we don't know what we did. And we tend to forget that. At some point, someone's going to be asking us, are you using all your calculated fields for that, on that workbook? How many times you build 10,000 calculated fields and you use half of them, perhaps, in your workbook, right? Many times. Which sheets are safe to delete, for example, right? How do I document all this? After building a visualization, the most painful thing in the whole world is to actually document what we did in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes, right? So for that, I created another GPT that will actually look into all that information. As you may know already, ChatGPT will be able to read only workbooks that are not packaged workbooks, Tableau workbooks, because it will actually read the code in the background, which is an XML file. And with that, it can actually list, give you all the sheets that you're using, all the dashboard, the filters, parameters, calculations, right? And it can compare two versions. You can easily compare what you did on version 1 and in version 2 at the same time, right? And it will generate a very close and very good human readable sort of documentation that you can actually copy, paste, and add more stuff into a document, either Confluence, Jira, Notion, any other tool that you're actually using, right? So, having said all that, that's the GPT. We're going to see all that in a minute. And now, the fun part, right? Because what we have right now is the live demo. Now, this is a really live demo, and anything can go absolutely wrong, right? Everything can go or really good, and everything can work, or everything can go really, really, really bad. Okay, are you ready? Should we go for that? Right, let's see. Oops, typical thing that should have not have happened. Sorry, 1 second, sorry. Come on, okay. Let's go. Right, we are connected. Ready? Okay, so first thing is I have a few prompts. All of these prompts you're going to have access to everything that I'm going to show you right now. Fingers crossed, things work okay. So let me copy this prompt. Right, you will be able to do all this later on. So I'm going to go to the DataVis color palette generator, basically, right? And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to start. I want to create a color palette, a brand new color palette, and it's going to probably ask me. Most likely, it's going to ask me what kind of. There we go. What kind of theme do you like, right? Do you have anything special in your head, like climate change or healthcare, social media, anything, right? It will give you some options like what sort of style. And this is where you can actually say, I can upload something that you already have, like colors you already have from your organization where you're working, or another visualization that you saw and you like those colors, or even a picture, right? Sometimes you can find a picture, you like the colors of that picture, and you can upload it here and it will help you. In this case, we're going to generate a new color palette, right? And that is going to be 5 colors for a professional KPI dashboard, minimalistic and RAG colorblind friendly, right? Fingers crossed, everything works. And I seriously say, fingers crossed, everything works with the internet. So it's going to analyze and it's going to start building our color palette, hopefully in a couple of seconds. And this is live demo, right? So, yes, here we go. Okay, excellent. So basically, as you can see, it created it created the color palette. Unfortunately, this has happened to me in the past. Unfortunately, because I'm connected and I'm presenting, it doesn't generate an image. But in a normal situation, it will give you something like this, right? It has happened to me before. For some reason, because I'm presenting, is not showing the color palette, but it will give you something very similar to this, in this case. So that image that you cannot see right now, unfortunately, right? It's basically exactly what we need, and what we need. And why do we need that? Because at some point, we are going to use it with Nano Banana, right? I thought this was going to happen, so don't worry. That's why we have the other one in place. Now, the good news is I can say, okay, can you add a 6 color, please? Right, and it will add a 6 color, basically, because we actually need another one, not just 5. We probably decided we need another one, and so it's going to go and create another color for us. So what we do that, well, it does that, basically. What it does is, what I'm going to show you is, once again, the final colors will look something like this, in a very similar way, somehow, right? And it's going to give you this, and it will add a 6 color. If we can, sorry. Okay, the reason why this is happening is because the network is really, really bad. So if I show you a similar concept or idea, there we go. This is a concept, a very similar concept. So it gave me 5 colors. This is a previous generated one. They gave me 5 colors, and I asked to add a 6th or a darker blue color, and it created a 6th one. And the beauty of this is that basically we can ask ChatGPT, right, to give us the color palette, right, for the preferences file. Have you ever changed the preferences file colors on your workbooks? Excellent. Okay, good. Right. So it will give you the coding ready for you to go into the preferences file. So what do? I copy that code, right? Where can you find that preferences file? It's under your personal folders, document, my Tableau repository, and it's this file that is called preferences. You right-click and edit with open with Notepad. You between the preferences tag there, you just paste that code. Now, save it. If we don't save it, it's not going to show. And next time we actually go into Tableau, we will be able to see that color palette. Now, the problem that we're having right now is that because of the internet, it's not properly working. That's fine, no problem at all. So as you can see, it will give you something like that. And you can actually copy and you can actually use that file, that generated file. Now this is basically a PNG file. So you can actually save this image, right? You can save this image, or you can copy and paste it anywhere else you want to use it, right? Because it's basically a very simple PNG file. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is how to work basically with Nano Banana. Now let's hope we have enough power to make it work, right? So remember this file that I created, right? I created a prompt, and you will have access to this. You can basically change any parts of the prompt without a problem. Right, we are going to upload a file onto Gemini, right, and this is going to be, sorry, once again, downloads, here we go. Sorry. Things that sometimes don't work exactly like we wanted. So that's the file. I'm going to paste the prompt, right? And I'm going to let Nano Banana start working on it. And as you can see, it already kicked off Nano Banana Pro automatically. However, I could have come here and activated myself manually if I wanted to in Gemini. So it's going to probably take a few seconds. Hopefully it will work and it will generate that wireframe that we want digitally. There we go. As you can see, it generated the wireframe without a problem, right? Then again, this is a PNG file, something that you can actually download yourself if you wanted to, right? Or you can copy and use in any other project or anything else that you're actually using or working with. And now what I'm going to do is, okay, now that I have the wireframe, can you convert that wireframe into a mockup? Then again, I'm going to copy the prompt that we already have. I'm going to come here and I'm going to upload my beautiful handwritten mockup that I created, basically, and it will be this one. And we are going to create that, and we're going to ask it if it can generate the mockup, right? Then again, it might take a couple of seconds. Nano Banana is working still on that. Right, building. You see, you can actually see everything that it's actually thinking or doing at the end with the whole process. So basically, the good thing is you can see how it's thinking, how it's building, examining everything, and it generated the mockup, right? Now, I'm going to download this, and the reason why I'm going to download this is because I'm going to use it in the next prompt. And the next prompt is to say, okay, I'm going to add a few files in here, and I want you to please generate all those images, the prototype, right? So I'm going to add that. I'm going to go to upload files, basically. And we are going to come here. So we're going to use the color palette. I'm going to add the logo, right? And we are going to ask it to generate the mockup, right? Fingers crossed everything works. So the good news is that we can always see what's actually doing, how it's thinking, where in the process is actually working with all that. Come on, don't let me down. Don't let me down right now. It's actually adding the color, white background, because I expressly asked for a white background. Well, not exactly what I wanted. The reason is because I didn't use, okay. What was my mistake here? I should have picked Nano Banana to generate the image, basically. But at the end of the day, what it would have happened is I already have a previous version, so basically it should have generated something similar to this, basically. The reason it didn't generate it is because I didn't select the Nano Banana option. So it actually went for the version that it created something that thought that was going to work with code and all the stuff. Not bad, it generated something like this, as you can see. But it's not an image, this is coding. So there's some code in the background. Still works, still does the job, basically. But it didn't generate the right logo and all that. And the reason for that is because I was not using the correct option to generate the image. So once we have done that, basically we should end up with something very similar to this. And the last but not least thing is what I wanted to show you is basically, remember when we said that we have two versions of a workbook sometimes, right? So earlier on, I created two versions of the same workbook, right? So for example, I have a first version of the very well-known Superstore dataset, right? Nothing important, nothing serious in this workbook. What you can see is the simple Superstore dataset with some parameters in there, right? I created a second version at some point, and that second version has a few extra fields in there. And within those fields, calculated fields, parameters, and a couple of visualizations. Nothing out of this world, basically. Just a few calculated fields and all that. But let's say I come back to this, and I will have to go side by side and check what's different between one and the other. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to use my very good friend ChatGPT once again, right? And we're going to ask it to, can you please, right, compare the two workbooks between the two of them, right? And we're going to ask the Tableau Workbook Inspector. I'm going to add those two files, right? This one and this one. And I'm going to ask for it to actually simply check what's new between the two of them, right? Now this, depending on how heavy the workbook is, it might take a few minutes, and I'm saying a few minutes. The longer that it took on one of mine was about 12 minutes, actually. But at the end of the day, it's going to give you the results that you need. So depending on how heavy the workbooks are, or how many calculated fields you have, how many, all that kind of stuff you have in one or the other, right? It will give you everything that you need. So basically what it's actually doing is comparing version 1 with version 2, right? It's giving me the existing parameters and the values that are existing there. It's actually telling me, okay, these are the new calculated fields. As you can see, you already have the calculated fields in there, right? You see the running total, for example, or the profitable, and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually giving you all the formulas for each one of those calculated fields, right? So the good news is I can ask now to have a full, right, a full document, right? So can you create a full right, and it will create a whole document showing us, telling us what the differences are, what the changes are, and all that within our visualization, within our workbooks. It might take a couple of seconds, right, and it's going to start building all that. Looking at parameters, data sources, dashboards, right? So what's behind all this is basically, it's going to start building all that. It's going to tell us which parameters are new, for example, fields, right, data sources, how many worksheets have been added or removed, right? For example, it's showing us that one of the worksheets was removed, right? There are no dashboards and so on. So it's actually giving us very simple and comprehensive, right? And I can say, yeah, I can ask for a full Confluence, for example, documentation, and it's going to go and prepare everything, or as much as it can, right, for us to go and paste all that information. As you can see, it's giving us how many fields we have, how many of them were modified, deleted, and so on and so on and so on. So it's going to start generating all that document that you can actually copy, paste, and obviously at the end of the day, you can add more information or change whatever you have in front in your document. Right, now remember that we created this preferences file, and we uploaded the code to the preferences file. Now if I go to colors here and my color palettes, right at the bottom, right, we have the color palette that we created, the KPI color palette that we created. And from here, right, we can say, okay, that's going to be red and that's going to be green, for example, if I wanted. So that's a way that you can actually end-to-end start with a color palette, generate mockups, wireframes, prototypes, basically, and then get all the documentation that you need ready to go. Everything is ready for you and available right now, so you will be able to use all that without a problem straight away. And the last few things, sorry for the things that didn't work, okay? But anyway, it's a live presentation, it's a live demo. So the co-designing loop, as we mentioned, AI, human. So this is the whole loop. Basically, we start with the color inspiration, a sketch, create a structure, a wireframe, mockups, prototype, build it in Tableau, validate, and then create a documentation. So that's the whole process that I usually use during all my workbooks, or everything that I actually work with. 3 things to remember, 3 things for us to work with and to remember all the time. AI accelerates, right? We can use it to get ideas, colors, structure, documentation, all that. We elevate. We are the ones deciding. We are the ones who decide the meaning, the story, and we are responsible for that information. But when we put all that together, we can work much better and we can create something really, really good and much faster than we used to do in the past, right? Thank you very much for coming. You can download everything that we just saw. If you have any questions, happy to answer the questions.